Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Will Myers with Myers Impact, and today we're going to talk about the benefits of exercise and a healthy diet during the time of a pandemic. Now, this question's coming up all the time. Should I be exercising? How should I be eating? How is this going to affect my program? You know, if you're an athlete in this industry right now, the pandemic is messing with you, and if you're not an athlete, this pandemic is most likely messing with you. So we want to make sure that we end up on the other side of this thing maintained or maybe even stronger than we came into it. The last thing we want to do is end up injured, weaker, or more imbalanced after this entire period. However, that is a very common result when you're in a sedentary lifestyle and you have a situation. We can very commonly compare this to breaking a leg. And all of a sudden, from everything that you used to do, moving around the world, all of a sudden now you are held down to a chair or crutches or a wheelchair. In other words, saying everything is completely changed. Okay? That's going to change the structure of your physical body. So why is it important for us to include exercise during this time? Because naturally, it's going to help us maintain a balanced structure. Okay, the first things that happen in situations like this is we create imbalances in our hips and in our back, and all that pain starts coming in because the body's not moving the way that it was used to moving. As soon as the body stops, the muscles that had responsibilities no longer have those responsibilities. So they're now trying to figure out, how can I help the body the most? Some of them realize that they need to become softer so that they can become cushions. Right? Some of them realize, okay, now I have to work a little bit harder because I have to hold the head up for much longer at a time. Okay, there's many different things that can happen, and the idea is that these sudden changes can have negative effects down the line. Now, if you're already an athlete and you're already building the body and compounding with weight and putting muscle on, you are in a situation as well. Whereas this new sedentary lifestyle, I mean, you may be worried about losing your gains, but you should be more worried about the imbalances that could come from sitting down much more, right? That can very quickly cause one lift when you get back into the fitness world to go bad, and there's an injury that'll automatically stick with you for a long time. We know many professional bodybuilders that unfortunately went through that situation, went back into it too quick, and got hurt. That's the last thing we want for anyone we know. Okay, so again, if you need to get this information out to somebody, share it with them. Now, what are the three different things, or what are the different things you can do for exercise? You've got strength training, you've got cardiovascular training, and you've got flexibility. Okay, so let's break them down real quick. With your strength training, of course, you could be looking at your heavier weight training, which is kind of difficult in this time frame, or you have your endurance training. I love endurance training because that means we take up the reps and lower the weight. The idea there is that we now start building the foundation, build the joints, make sure everything has the proper range of motion, okay? And then, of course, the last one there we were talking about there, we have flexibility and cardio. So flexibility is needed because these muscles, once again, are going to be changing as you're sitting around. The muscles in the front of the body become shorter, so we have to stretch them back out before they cause any other referred pain. The last one was the cardio that we were saying. Cardio, of course, is so important because it's going to primarily help boost the metabolism. Remember, majority of your exercise is not going to immediately show your result, meaning you're not going to build muscle while you're lifting the weight. You're not going to burn and lose all the weight during the cardio session. But what that boost is going to do for your metabolism is then completely dependent on how you're eating, how you're resting, and when you're eating as well. So we got to make sure that your training complements your eating and your eating complements your training. If your training has changed in the last couple weeks, I'd probably recommend that your eating change as well. So let's break down the purpose of food is fuel, right? There's 3 different fuel sources. Some may say 4, but you have your ATP-CP, which is a creatine phosphate. You have your glycogen, which many know that as sugar, and you have oxygen. Now, of course, that 4th fuel source, you may be saying it right now on the tip of your tongue, is fat. It all depends on how you're eating and what position you put your body in to be able to burn fat as a fuel source. But for most of us, because glycogen is in our diet, we're going to be burning those carbohydrates and glycogen as our primary source of fuel. Now, again, this conversation could go crazy on fuel sources, but for the most part, those are your 4. Okay? When it comes to this now, a more sedentary lifestyle, that means that we have to change the food going in, because if there's now excess food, too much surplus, in other words, too much glycogen, in other words, too much fuel for the energy that's being put out, that fuel is then going to be stored. Okay, so we're in a situation now where we could actually store more fat and water than originally planned without even knowing it, because we didn't pay attention to the diet. So it's very important. The other part of the diet is to make sure that it is your frontline defense against all these viruses and bacteria and germs, because it's one of the best ways to boost your immune system. Of course, the immune system really is boosted by encountering germs and bacteria and all that stuff. We're all on lockdown, therefore meaning you don't have that practice. So there's a good chance that your immune system may be a little bit lower when we start venturing back out. So the best way that you can put a shield up is to load your food with vitamin C. That means your fruits, that means your vegetables, that means all of that good stuff that makes sure that you're getting those nutrients in your meals. If you need to take it in a supplement form, you can do that. The idea, though, is that this meal, these foods are going to have a purpose. One purpose is their fuel. The second purpose is to give you nutrients to help strengthen your body. And in this current situation, strengthen that immune system. So make sure that you're loading up with vitamin C, make sure that you're getting your sleep, and at the same time, make sure that you're exercising in some shape or form so we can keep to build that relationship between the heart and the lungs. We can keep that food and metabolism relationship strong, and in the end, we keep this mind nice and strong. Because if you're starving on food, you're also going to be starving mentally. Okay, if you're starving on sleep, you're going to be starving mentally. For those of us who exercise as a passion, if you're starving on some form of fitness, right, it's going to mess with you mentally. So take the time, get out there, whether it's a walk, whether it's a little bit of exercise in the house, whether you need to join onto a fitness group that is broadcasting through Zoom. I may have a few myself. Whatever we got to do to get you involved and get you moving and get you confident and have you feeling like as soon as you step back out into the world, chest is up, head is strong, S on your chest, you're there to take on whatever it is because you spent the time building yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, whatever it was, you spent the time, which is right now, okay? I know this got a little bit deeper at the end. We're really talking about motivation and being the best you as possible, but remember this whole thing comes back to the benefits of exercise and a proper healthy diet during the time of a pandemic. Okay? The goal is here to get good, learn it, and then get better and share it and teach and help each other grow. Okay, if you have any questions, again, my name is Will Myers Impact on Instagram, social media. Shoot a message. If you have any topics you want to go over, I'm happy to help out. Thanks again. Bye.